pas mal de modifications. Beaucoup de joueurs trouvent d'ailleurs qu'elle a un équilibrage parfait.
Welcome back everyone to Smash Ultimate In-Depth Analysis. This one was very highly requested. Today we're going to be covering the mercenary leader and hero of the Blue Flame, Ike, and how exactly he has changed since his previous outing on the Wii U and 3DS. Once again, disclaimer that all damages are calculated as base damages, with multipliers and damage bonuses accounted for and removed. And if a certain move is not covered, it is because it is basically unchanged from Smash 4. Alright, you know the drill, let's get started right away with the aesthetics. Now, Ike hasn't gotten the huge makeover some other characters have for Ultimate, but there are still a few things to note. First of which is now you can choose between either his Ranger appearance from the Path of Radiance, or his more mature hero look from Radiant Dawn, each with their own slightly different voices.
Prepare yourself. Prepare yourself.
I mean, I guess they're different, but I don't really hear much of a difference.
Prepare yourself.
The two looks share his 8 skins available in the demo, and as you can see here, they are pretty much unchanged from Brawl and Smash 4. Still containing references to his father Grail, his colleague Joffrey, his rival the Black Knight, and Sigurd from Fire Emblem Genealogy of the Holy War, initially a Japanese-only Fire Emblem game released in 1996 for the Super Famicom. Aside from his skins, there are only a few other aesthetic changes I noticed. He has a new blue flame effect on his counter, which is fitting, and he also has a new stage entry animation, this time sweeping his cape out of the way before preparing for battle. But I know why you are here. You want to see if Ike has really been buffed as much as people say. So let's not waste any more time and get right into his moveset. Alright, we start with his simplest move, Jab, and unfortunately that means we start with a nerf. Along with a slightly different Jab 3 animation, Ike's Jab 1 and 2 have gotten their damage nerfed to 0.5% each, bringing the total jab damage from 11% down to 10. This nerf down to 10% is something I've seen for a lot of characters' jabs in Smash Ultimate, as it seems they want them to be more homogeneous across the cast. Moving on to Ike's tilts, we get some good news, as his F-tilt now comes out 1 frame earlier at frame 12 and does 1% more damage for a beefy total of 13.5, making an already powerful move even more so. His up tilt was changed too, but I don't know if it was a buff or a nerf. I say that because even though it's gotten a solid 8 frames of end lag shaved off of it, it has also gotten its damage nerfed by 2% down to 12. So basically you are trading damage for frame data. Spoilers, this theme carries on for a ton of Ike's new moveset. Ike's smash attacks only received a couple of changes, the biggest of which was his down smash, which has gotten a 2% damage buff on both the hits, meaning it now does 16% on the first hit and an impressive 19% on the second. The other change is to his up smash, which, while it's pretty much unchanged in terms of frame data and power, its shockwave hitbox now covers both sides of Ike's body, and not just the side the sword hits like in Smash 4, making it much better at covering options. As for Ike's grabs, they all come out the same frame as before, but his standing grab has had 4 more frames of end lag added, and his dash grab has had 5 frames tacked on. Considering grabs as a whole have been nerfed in Ultimate, usually a lot worse than that, Ike seems to have escaped relatively unscathed. His throws have gotten a few changes as well. His forward throw, for instance, has had the damage of its first hit buffed by 0.5% for a total throw damage of 7.5. Obviously nothing crazy, but it can make a difference. His up throw has gotten the same treatment, now doing 7.5% as well. The only problem is it doesn't seem to be the great combo throw it used to be, as the opponent just needs to buffer an air dodge to get out of any follow-up you go for. I have seen it combo sometimes, and it could lead into some 50-50 scenarios, but you won't be doing any crazy confirms like this anymore. No, it seems down throw is Ike's new combo throw, being much more consistent overall, but still seemingly having too much knockback at higher percents to get any true kill confirms going. So a fairly mixed bag of buffs and nerfs so far, nothing to get too excited about, but just wait until we get to his aerials where things really get interesting. Aerials are Ike's bread and butter, so the changes made to them actually seem to change how he plays now. Starting with Nair, we have a pretty substantial damage nerf. The strongest hitbox is now down from 10% all the way to 7.5, and the late hit was nerfed from 7% down to 6. That seems pretty bad, but it does come out 2 frames faster now at frame 10. Combined with the landing lag buffs, which we will get to later, this move seems to be even better than before, even with the reduced damage. Following along with this theme of damage for frame data, we have Fair, going from 13% damage down to 11.5, but also coming out 1 frame faster at frame 11. Alright, let's finally talk about Ike's new up air. This move has gotten so much hype, but when you break it down, it really isn't that much different than his old one. It still comes out in the same mediocre 13 frames, still does 11% base damage, and still has very good knockback, though a little less now I'd say. The only true differences are now it's only active for about 6 frames instead of 17, and Ike swings his sword vertically instead of horizontally. In Smash 4, Ike's up air was one of the best air dodge busters in the game, but now with directional air dodges, attacks that linger in one area like Ike's old up air are much less viable, as the opponent can just air dodge away from it. So with the way Ike's new up air swings in Ultimate, it should do a much better job covering those new evasive options, as well as giving it better reach for conversions out of other moves. The changes to landing lag affected Ike more than any other character I've analyzed, going so far as to change the way he plays. Before, Ike was a bait and punish character, trying to make you scared into doing one option so he could nab you with the other and do huge damage. Ike may not be any faster in terms of actual movement speed, but because of those landing lag buffs, he can now specialize more in oppressing the opponent with huge safe aerials and carrying them off the stage with each string. So why don't we see just how much they were buffed, shall we? Nair's been buffed from 14 frames down to 8. This massive buff is responsible for making Nair one of Ike's best moves, allowing it to be safe on shield and convert him into almost anything he wants. Bear's been buffed from 19 frames of lag down to 11. Bear is still as strong as it ever was, and with this reduction, it will become one of the scariest options in neutral when the percent starts to climb. Bear's been buffed just 4 frames, going from 18 to 14. Not the biggest buff ever, but it is enough to make it safe when spaced correctly and allows Bear to string into itself and carry opponents off the side whilst doing great damage. Ike's new up air only has 9 frames of lag compared to the 15 his old one had. This exemplifies up air's new role as an oppressive shocking tool in the advantage state. Finally, while his dare is mostly unchanged, his landing lag has been buffed from a pitiful 23 frames down to just 14. Even with this huge buff, Ike's dare doesn't lend itself to being used on stage, but it should still make things a lot less painful if you mess up. With that done, let's finish up with Ike's special moves. Alright, let's get things started with Ike's neutral B, Eruption. This move is pretty much the same as Smash 4's, with one exception. It can now shoot 2 or even 3 plumes depending on how charged it is. Other than that, it's business as usual. Side B, aka Quick Draw, has undergone a few tweaks. For one, you can no longer charge it indefinitely, and it will release after a certain given time once fully charged. This makes it a lot harder to mix up your recovery and makes it worse as an attacking option, since your opponent knows when it's coming to a certain extent. It's not all bad though, as it now has about 10 frames less end lag on the attack itself, making it safer in general and allowing Ike to start recovering sooner after hitting it off stage without falling as far. Speaking of recovery, his Ether up B has also been adjusted a bit. The first hitbox now comes out 3 frames faster at frame 15. The super armor comes out faster too, though by how much I'm not completely certain. In every match I've analyzed, it seems to come out about 3 frames faster at frame 15, same as the first hitbox, which makes sense since that's how it worked in Smash 4. But the trailers and E3 footage show the super armor starting as early as frame 7. Maybe this is just for grounded Ether, or maybe it was changed later on, I simply do not know at this point. Another interesting difference is when Ike uses Ether, his sword will no longer go through the stage and hit opponents. Instead, it sort of glides or bounces off the stage. This means Ether will be worse at clearing the ledge off, but it could be better at dissuading opponents from going off stage to challenge it. And with his final smash being the same great Ether from Smash 4, this is pretty much all I have for the changes to Ike in Smash Ultimate. Thanks again for watching and supporting this channel, it means a lot. If you really want to go above and beyond, you can support us on Patreon and get rewards like access to the community Discord, priority voting for the next analysis, and your name at the end of the video. I'd also like to give a shout out to Bo Scotty, who I commissioned to do this sweet drawing of me in my main. His attention to detail and accommodation were so impressive, I just had to get his name out there. If you want to check out his art or shoot him a commission, just check him out at this Twitter handle. Social media info and music used are in the description below, and if you'd like to vote for the next character in the demo to be covered, just leave it in the comment with the hashtag #PleaseAnalyze. Thank you so much everyone, and I'll see you in the next video.